I feel like I've seen some of the farmers people, and I'm like, where did you learn how to do some of this?
Yeah, we give them some templates and things. So yeah, so we've done it about the last 5 years. So there probably is a smattering of a few people have a few things.
So if it's okay, we'll just, we won't have like the camera on all of us. It'll just be recording like us talking.
Sure, sure, that's fine.
So that's how we start it. Well,
I think we're on recording.
Oh, we
automatically recording.
Okay. Okay. Super. I'll wait and see if Jordan replies. We are in the Masters of Healthcare Innovation program, like we said, over the College of Nursing. And so Kelly, Chris, and Jill are here, and they are in a capstone group, and they can tell you a little bit about their project. And then Justin and I and Jordan and Ann. So Justin and I are here, and Jordan will hopefully be joining us via Zoom. We are working on a capstone project where we are trying to implement some type of digital platform for families to be able to almost conference in or video into multidisciplinary rounds if they are, outside of the hospital. We have the barriers of distance and unknown timing of rounds. So we are trying to kind of roll out something where we can let the family members know rounds are about to begin. You can call in or dial in using this link to join in the conversation.
Well, that's great. That'd be really nice.
So that's our project. I'll let you guys give a little.
And we're actually doing like virtual health or visual telehealth as far as with hematology population.
Okay.
We're going to start small as far as discharge of the patients and discussing going over meds and just hoping to, we have some patients that come from far away, but increasing access to care, and I was going to say also convenience for the patient and hopefully quality too.
Right. Okay.
So our goal of these interviews is to interview different people who may have a role throughout, the innovation process.
Okay.
So what is your title, a project manager, or what exactly is your?
Yeah. So my title, I'm IT manager of our portfolio management office.
Okay.
So I have a team of 12 project analysts, project managers, and senior project managers. So we have a career growth and career path for staff to grow.
Okay.
So my seniors are obviously do more of the big complex projects, and my project analysts are more junior, 1 or 2 years out of having either their bachelor or master's degree or working on their degree and things like that. So.
Okay. Okay.
Are there specific projects that you work with in IT, or is it?
Yeah, so actually, within, I'll give a little bit of background of kind of our PMO structure. So here at the Wexner Medical Center, we have an IT project management, portfolio management office. Half the team is construction renovation. So their focus is on new buildings, moves. So anytime a department moves, there's a team that manages that effort. They're not doing the brick and mortar building, but they do the technology components that go in the wiring, these kind, the laptops or the video screens that go on the wall and everything else. That's the team that helps coordinate all those pieces, furniture and things like that. My team focuses on everything else. So we do all types of application projects, both clinical and business applications. We do information warehouse, so all your data analytics projects we do. We do software engineering, which is really homegrown applications for the Wexner Medical Center. A lot of it is digital. Your OSU Wexner Medical Center homepage, our College of Medicine pages, websites, and things like that. So that's what that team does. We do research projects, education, so the Vitals application that's used within the College of Medicine. We assist with those type of projects. We do technology projects, so any technology that touches an application. So like Windows 2008 servers, so if your server is old and your application sits on the server, then my team helps manage that project too.
Kelly. Is John Wooten on your team?
No, but I forget where he is. So I know the name.
Yeah, he worked with them a little bit.
Yeah.
On our projects.
We do a lot of business projects too, so sometimes it's not even just IT related. My team is in high demand, so a lot of times if we have a grant, it's a bundle payment with Mary Justice and Dr. Gunzenhauer. My team has been helping Christy Murdoch on that project and that effort. We sometimes are given funding to hire a contractor, project manager, or project analyst. So the Healing Grant for communities for the state of Ohio, the opioid grant, they gave us funding to hire project analysts. So then they come on my team. A lot of it is they like what our team does and the personalities that we hire for and things like that. So, so we have a wide variety. We across the medical center and across healthcare. And then we coordinate some of the projects with OSU. So we get into the HR side of like Kronos, Workday, all the P3. So those are kind of your business applications or your budgeting software and things like that. So we help with all those. So that's a little bit about kind of my team. We've been the PMO here at Wexner Medical Center. We've been here about 12 years. So a few of us were brought in to help structure and put together the portfolio management office.
So do you also do that like my chart?
Yes, my chart falls within. So we help Maria Bracazio with my chart. So wherever my team's focus is on bigger projects. So we do, obviously there's a lot of work to do. So we've trained functional managers to be project managers. So they do project management light. And then those bigger projects where we really need the rigor of following PMI standards and the bigger like Kronos or Workday or infusion pump, all those things, they always ask for a PM. So we help with the larger size projects.
Excuse me. So when you start a new project, how, and they sound like some pretty big projects, how do you guys kind of map out a timeline for different milestones and objectives that you're trying to meet along the way?
Sure. So we have a structured framework that helps guide us. So we'll start with the smaller projects. So based on our tiering, we've given guidelines. So our small efforts, if we say are less than 100 hours, then we have developed standard templates for standard milestones. An example is with IHIS, we have a standard release cycle. So every other month, there's a bundle that will include maybe 100 enhancements or so. And each of those enhancements all have a standard milestone and deadlines. So we've agreed upon like one task and then 4 or 5 milestones. So there's certain dates that build has to be complete, dates that training has to be completed, communication, and then our go live. So we try to keep the smaller ones very simple. And to come up with that timeline, we work as a team. So we have a manager meeting with all the application managers, and we sit down and map out what does that bundle look like. So we do a lot of roadmap planning to get to that. And we're usually planning a year out, so fiscal year 20 with what we're in now. We have a combined roadmap discussion. So we engage our sponsor is the key thing, and like Dr. Reiser and Tom Bentley, and we'll sit down and say, what are the best months for go live? So yeah, and we don't want to do holiday months. We try to be really careful when residents are coming on. So we try to do off months and then start sitting down and looking at holidays for those smaller projects, saying, okay, one year we did a bundle update over Mother's Day, which was not a good time. So we've learned, kind of your lessons learned in your retrospective. So, but we sit down and do joint planning together. And that's one thing that's really helped our PMO, my team, is we don't do planning siloed. It's very important to do it as a team. And the more teamwork you can do to plan dates and some activities. So that's for smaller projects. For the bigger ones, it really depends upon the audience. So there are two methods that I'd recommend going with. Either you do a brainstorm session. If you have more kind of, let's say, the empathy side, the touchy-feely side, the people, you can do more of a brainstorm. And so everyone comes into a room and you ask people to come prepared ahead of time to talk about any key dates or any key deliverables or a key milestone, something, a target that they know they have to hit in their task. And then do a post-it note exercise and whiteboard it on the wall. And segment, what's initiation phase? What do we have to do to start? What's planning? What are we executing or building? So we really try to use layman's terms. What are the requirements? What does our sponsor want? And do, everyone write down a post-it note and you just put up on the wall. So some teams can do that, are more comfortable doing that kind of timeline put together. Other ones, if they're a little bit more technology focused and are still okay with brainstorming, then we'll do something in Excel and just all whiteboard and talk through, columns in Excel. What are the tasks and dates and timelines? For the bigger projects, sometimes the project manager will do a little bit of legwork ahead of time, and we'll sit down with our sponsor and say, okay, what are your expectations? So usually working with your key sponsor is really important as your big project. So if we know workload acuity for Kronos scheduling app, we've sat down with Chris Kipp and Jackie Buck and asked them, okay, what are some key dates that we have to hit? Is there an O&A rule? Is there something else going on in the organization that we have, deadlines that you expect that we have to hit, or things that we can't hit?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of talking to your
The
key
big level.
stakeholders
Yes,
kind of
yes.
first.
When
It's
you
time
say
to first.
sponsor, you kind of like the key stakeholders in the project?
Well,
or-
you'll have a sponsor, so that one person that's accountable at the executive level. And you can have then under there kind of other key stakeholders that are having some type of interest in the project.
That's the one Angie's working on.
Yeah. But you always want to try to identify one sponsor. And sometimes in healthcare, it's a little hard because sometimes you have two people that want to be that one go-to person. And if you have two people, sometimes that doesn't always work. If they work well together, it's okay. But we usually try to say, pick one person that's really, really gonna, if we don't meet this, then they're going to speak why we don't meet a date, or, what's kind of that last person to go to. And we've had one project recently where we've had two sponsors, and it created, and each sponsor was giving different direction, and it causes a little more angst on the project team to work through that. So I highly recommend one. Now, what we do in IT, we usually have an IT sponsor and we have a business sponsor. So we might pair up like Chris Kipp with Tom Bentley. So Chris would be our IT sponsor. Like for Kronos, when we went live, did the upgrade, then Allison Mincy in HR was our key sponsor. So she was like the final say if there was any decision that we needed, contention. And then Tom Bentley was our IT sponsor. So we always try to match up two, but we always have one final business sponsor. So to put the schedule together, we usually start really high level and then just have more planning meetings. I like to do planning sessions with the whole team. And then even if we have to take half a day and we sit down, okay, let's brainstorm, what's the schedule, or what do we know now, and map that out in some type of brainstorm session. A lot of times, if it's more technical people, a lot of times they're more uncomfortable estimating and guessing or just giving, high, medium, and low. So I try to make it very simple. It's not, I need to know 2 hours here, but is this going to take you 4 weeks, or is this going to take you 8 weeks, et cetera. So the more you can be more inclusive, the better it is.
Are there key milestones you look for? Or is that really
There are
project
key
dependent?
milestones, and each project kind of guides, obviously, requirements, defining your scope, your build activities, testing, completing testing, communication, training, You could go help desk post live support is really critical. A lot of times we're forgetting post live support. So as we get more technical as a society and how busy all of us are, the amount of time it takes us to even learn. I mean, I have no time to really read and,
Right.
and know what's going in. And as we do
Feel you.
enhancements, so that support and having people we could call quickly, but then our support level is not always going up also. So
As a bedside nurse, neither do I.
yeah, I know. I mean, none of us do. We're moving so fast, and it's like you wanted to say, okay, let's slow down. So that's another kind of thing to watch as you do projects is what is that pace for change? I usually like to have another key milestone that's really looking at kind of doing go decision points. So for big projects, we always do like 120-day prior to go live checkpoint. So the more you can set checkpoints with your sponsor and your steering group or your sponsor group, the better. And then do like another 90-day, let's look at what are the major issues we're having, what are the risks, is everyone comfortable with where we are? You know, as soon as you see someone that's not so comfortable, it's like, okay, let's sit down, talk through, you know, what are we missing or why aren't you comfortable? And I can send some key milestones if you want some documents and ideas on some ways to structure a project schedule. I can send some of the same templates that we use with the pharmacy team. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, they're all ready to go. Really having a clear charter and writing down things is very important. And when we started the PMO here, a lot of time people weren't used to signing that document. And I still recommend people physically sign something because even if it's an email, we skim the emails so much.
Right.
But if you're going to physically sign something, and a
Saying
charter's
that you
not illegal,
acknowledge, like-
they acknowledge I read through the scope, I'm in agreement, and we've made our project charters very light. So we've taken out a lot of segments. So we try to right size the work, so we're not creating busy work, but things that are really important. So that's why the smaller projects we really go really light, and then larger projects we do a charter. As you mentioned, the stakeholders, we do a stakeholder analysis, so we make sure, okay, what is the intent, who's interested in what we're doing? Do we really have one sponsor that's really driving?
So how often, once you kind of get on the road to working towards, you know, an end goal, how often do you guys typically meet, or is that just determined on the project or what's going on?
I like my team to meet weekly with most projects, and especially in person. I know it's hard nowadays because we're scattered all over the place, but as much as whoever can meet so you see people is really important. Some projects warrant meeting every day. So I have some other projects where we're doing a daily stand-up. So we're not doing truly the traditional, as people think, traditional project management, but we're doing more agile daily stand-ups where you ask, what have you done? What have you worked on? Do you have any roadblocks? And then what's next? And there's a 15-minute huddle. So we're doing some projects that warrant that kind of
Is that the
attention
more
to detail.
innovative side of things as opposed to like lean?
It doesn't have to be. It can be used for other things. So we, in the information warehouse space, we had a huge backlog. So if you have a big backlog of items to complete, it works really well because as a team, you can go through where is everyone, what are the assignments, where are your roadblocks. And we were able to a massive backlog on data requests for the IWs. So you can use it more than you think. And it's not just the innovative side.
I think that's just kind of where everything is going.
Yeah.
In general.
Yes.
As opposed to a traditional like concrete.
Right.
We need to hit these milestones.
Yeah.
It's just not how projects are working.
Correct. And you sometimes on bigger projects we'll set, okay, we know we can plan so far. And that's why I always caution my team, go as far as you can, but don't try to, we're not waterfall, which is the old school traditional. I mean, here at OSU, we never really done that. We've been a hybrid. So go as far as you can. If you want to say, okay, our charter and our scope has to be defined within the next 2 months. And then after you know what that is, then you can plan the rest. So you don't have to feel like you have to plan the whole piece, except in cases like with Beaker that we just went live with, we were there's some cases where it's mandated saying I have to be live by a certain date. So then we work backwards. So some cases you can do forward planning, and other cases you have to do backward planning. So you're given the date. Like the healing grant that we're just given for opioid abuse, we have to kind of go backwards. So we know we have 4 years, and there's certain things we have to get done. So sometimes it's easier to do a backwards milestone plan and then fill in the holes, and then instead of going forward.
Does that pose different challenges?
Yeah, but well, backwards, yeah, because you're a lot of times you're crunching.
I was gonna say,
You're-
that's probably a
you're-
rush.
Yeah, you're really crushed because you're not thinking, okay, what availability do I have from people? So do I really have Aileen
Mhm.
4 hours a week?
Right.
And if I crunch something, I may not, it might be less than, on top of everything else. So it does.
But if you're going forward, how often does that get shoved?
Actually,
date.
we really try not to move. For the big projects, I think there's only been one that we've had to really move. So we really are careful in what we publish, but we have a lot of discussions and planning before we would publish that go live. The smaller projects, some of those, yes, they have more leeway, but then they're not in our framework. Their pace is not structured. So we have like a tier 1, tier 2 enhancements and operations. So as you go smaller, then you have leeway to shift that. But we don't shift it unless our sponsor says, yes, let's do a change, or that there's something wrong. So we always communicate, say, like to IW team, they're doing a lot of conversion work that's smaller, and they've been shifting dates. And we've been saying, we're not moving it until you do a change request, and let's talk through it. And we make the project yellow and red. And are you really sure we're going to miss that date? Because then that has other effect on other work that's in the queue. You're right, it can. If it's more operational work, it can shift. And as long as your sponsor is comfortable with that, then that's fine. The bigger projects, we try not to. I mean, if we had missed Beaker was interesting because we were still within a few weeks before go live saying, okay, are we really, is lab really sure they want to turn this on? Or single sign on. And some of these either were given the date by executive CEO. So sometimes we don't even have a choice of planning. So sometimes executive leadership says, okay, this has to be in this fiscal year, or legal does a contract in purchasing. It's really purchasing, not legal. They do a contract and they put dates. And we've worked really hard to ask supply chain and purchasing, don't put dates in a contract, please, because that's the other piece that you have to really watch for is the contracts up front. It's like so they're getting better at not doing that, and we've kind of shown the reason, explain why you can't. Nothing is ever 4 months to implement or anything.
So what would you make, like I think of like the DOT system in the outpatient world, ambulatory, and that everybody was going to go on the same DOT system, and then that just kind of went away, and now we haven't heard anything. Why does the project like just fall apart?
So it's usually sponsorship. That's the main thing. So either
They changed their mind.
they change their mind, or not a priority. They don't have time. There might be something that came up. So maybe there's another issue, a new leadership that came on board. So maybe the direction changed. A lot of it's more just people either changing, where they're really going in their direction and their thoughts, or they realize. And I don't know, was the DOT thing part of IHIS?
Yes.
Was it? Okay.
It's been there from the beginning, but
It has.
everyone utilizes it differently.
Differently.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I have to go back
And the
and
goal
see
was
what.
to get everybody across the board using the same
Same
color
thing.
to represent the same thing.
I'll have to go back and
There's
ask
a lot
on
of
that one.
probably
That one I
fighting about
haven't
that
heard.
because we already had implemented our own workflows with the DOT
Yeah.
system. So
So then they
people
came
did-
out with the cards. Everybody was on the same page. We had to go live date, and then it just
Oh.
fell apart.
Well, and I think
I'll have to ask him.
um,
Maybe there are other priorities that came up because that does happen.
Probably.
So
Yeah.
single sign-on is an example where that we had to stop other work to do. So that does happen.
Okay.
But then you have to always watch when you do that, and we don't always do a very good job. It's that communication piece. That's to the why.
Okay.
Why did we stop doing something? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that one I'll have to find out why. why that's kind of on hold.
Okay.
So how many projects are you balancing like at one time?
So my team, each person is about 10 to 12. So, but that's not all big projects. So that's not like an all beaker.
Yeah.
So, and I really try to right size the type of project to the skill level of the staff. And some are really small. So my project analysts, they might be doing a whole bunch of small ones. So the volume sounds a lot, but they're not doing big projects. My senior PMs like Beaker, then they manage that whole program, which was large, but that's all they do. But we may break out Beaker into 10 small projects. So it just really varies.
Does Jerry Curry?
Yeah.
So I
she's
worked
on my team.
with her on the pump integration
Okay.
project,
Yeah.
so that was a huge.
Yes. Yeah. So she would only usually do that one and maybe a small one, but we would break out pump integration into little smaller projects. So it really depends upon the skill level of the person. We're a little bit busier team, but we're just in high demand. So, which is good. I'd rather be in high demand than
Right, exactly.
not.
So what did you say, like the levels of staff members are under you?
Yeah.
Project managers, you mentioned project analysts.
Project analyst is the starting point, then project managers, and then senior project managers. And then project analysts have 0 to probably 8 years experience. Actually, I'm finding, I know this is a bit aside, but I'm finding for the project analysts, really some of the people coming out of school are really go-getters and are really willing to work and support kind of the mission of OSU, more so than some people that have been working in the workforce a little bit longer.
There was something about millennials. And,
Millennials, yeah.
How they're actually, because I know we had a conversation. You're like, well, actually, so and so are actually my stronger nurses.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ran across the article that they are go-getters.
Yeah, I've been finding that. I've been having more luck hiring.
Is it helpful if they have, like a background in healthcare? Do you look for that? Or is it mainly just the overall project management piece and then you can teach them
Yeah, actually, I look for personality. So I can teach project management and I can teach health. I can't teach healthcare, but I can teach the system of what we do in healthcare.
And that's what we've learned too about when we interview for, we interview for people that want to be here for the right reasons, to work hard. We can always teach the skills, but you can't teach some of those things.
Yeah, you can't teach a personality. You can't teach a soft side. So I always look for the soft
The
side.
compassion, the empathy, those kind of things.
Yeah.
So what happens if, ultimately sometimes projects take a turn and maybe it's not a widely popular to go, or an idea is not the best. And so how do you find that you motivate staff to get back on the same page, even though maybe they don't agree with the way the project needs to go, but you have to get them heading in that direction? What do you do to kind of keep people on the same page and moving in the right direction, despite maybe them not liking the way it's going?
Yeah. So usually I pull in the sponsor and we have some type of meeting. If we need to do a lunch sometimes, but usually it's just pulling everyone together with the sponsor and just reminding everyone the importance, why we're doing it. We know everyone's stressed. So Cronus was a good example. So we had lots of time when we had some people in tears just because of how busy they were. So like the payroll team was working on payroll and writing all of our checks and everything, but then we're asking them to test the new Cronus system and all this. So, they're working like 80 hours a week. And so we would have Allison come in and kind of do a pep talk to the team. And so we did that more than once to pull everyone together. And then as a project manager, I did like a survival kit. So those kind of small little things, or thank you notes to help the team kind of through stress, or if they don't really agree with where things are going. We remind them kind of the reason why we're doing it, the vision, and the kind of the end result does help. Right, and linking it back to the strategic plan and the goals. That's really important on project work, is linking it back to the strategy. What's the vision, guiding principles, the mission, why we're here, It may not just, be Aileen's opinion, but it's for the better care of patients. A lot of times I really like my team to get out over here and come to the hospital, because that's why we're here. We're not here to sit back in IT and forget about, we're here to take care of the patients. So even though indirectly we're helping to provide support for all the clinicians behind the scenes. So if we don't help support them and have a positive attitude too. So I usually, if I know something is strange going on, I call my sponsor and sit down and say, okay, I know this is grumblings are going on. Can you help? What can we do? And talk through some ideas. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and most of the leaders here are great. I mean, between Chris Kipp and Jackie Buck and Mary Justice and Dr. Reiser, all those people are willing to come in and take time. Kent Hess, I mean, all those people I've called on saying, can you come help, or let's, here are certain situations. And
is there a point in the project timeline, like you talked a lot about talking with the sponsor, but
yeah,
do you go out and intentionally talk to the end user or the clinician about where the project is headed, or soliciting advice?
So if they're part of the team, so usually we should always, like IV Pump, always have clinicians on the project somewhere. And they all should be in the kickoff up front, and part of here's the team structure. So that's part of kind of the kickoff, is what is our governance structure for the project. So somewhere along there you should see, the business side, or like for Cronus Acuity, we have a nursing group. Even for Cronus Go Live, we had people from every department involved and things like that. So we really make sure that it's not technology driven, that it's business driven. Yeah. If you don't see that, then you're missing, so that you can always raise the flag and say, hey, wait a minute, we're missing some people, and we'll add them in. Yeah. But they should be at the table from the beginning, from the kickoff. And then there should be routine kind of sponsor updates or minute updates or something going out to the group.
So what kind of advice for like those of us who are trying to move our projects forward? What would be your biggest piece of advice for people like us trying to just kind of get out there and
make sure you have a sponsor. Make sure they're engaged and that you're communicating with them frequently. That you're identifying risks. So a lot of times just talking through things that could happen, different scenarios. So having a good risk plan. And if something would happen, that way you're being a little more proactive. You would have at least a plan to address the risk. I think that, and then just communicate. But those are sponsor engagement, risks, if you want to, and then communication would be my top three. I mean, a project plan, you can do that on the back of a napkin. It doesn't have to, it could be in Word. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. So keep it simple. Is the other, don't try to make things complicated.
do you ever use mind maps?
I have, yes, yes. We have used mind maps. You can use whatever, yeah. Yes.
Have you identified a best way to disseminate information other than email?
No, it depends upon the team. It really depends. So posting things on SharePoint, but people don't have time to go out and look. It just, each team is varied. There really isn't.
Well, I'm sure you depend on
best way.
us to disperse information.
Yeah,
to
we
staff
disperse
as
and
well.
managers too. When we find managers don't always have time to do that, but yes, I mean,
When it's big projects like that, I think obviously we have to have an investment in it too,
Right.
because it affects them. So I think taking ownership in that.
I think that's hard to balance. But you
It
guys
is.
wanting to disseminate what is most important, and then we get it all
Right.
on the back end. It's like, well, I can't read 60 emails. I
Yeah.
can take care of patients, so I have to discern what is.
yeah, what's important, what's really important. And that's where we're really careful. We try to have a communication person on our projects for marketing communication. That helps us. And we talk through what is that communication plan? What is our message path? What is email best? Is one source, or we watch, okay, what news is coming out from the medical center, so we try not to inundate, because there
Right.
is so much.
Overload.
Yeah, so sometimes we hold messaging on one source for a week because we know other things are going out. It is hard though. There's not really a good one way. Even with research projects, this grant for state of Ohio, we're still trying to figure out the messaging because they're hiring people that are going to be out in the field. They might be down by Kentucky, and then how are we going to message and keep them updated? You know, that's so hard one. So the more you can communicate or doing a huddle, 15-minute huddle, or say, let's just get together because we don't have time to read, but let's do a 15-minute stand-up or 10-minute stand-up once a week or something. It doesn't have to be every day or every other week or something. Do a little huddle.
Have you seen more and more innovative projects come through?
I know in IT we always have
Oh.
kind of, yeah. The Room of the Future is kind of neat. That's coming through right now. So if we're working with Dr. Reiser and Tom for Raritan on how to, yes, yeah, or whatever, how to make, you know, that whole easier for clinicians. And when you walk in a room, it might say, hey, welcome so-and-so, and then be able to pull up your chart and touch and, you know, so they're working on that right now. So some of those cool things.
What was it called?
Room of the Future. And I think some of that they're thinking, I don't know if it will go in the new tower also, the new hospital that they're building. A lot of software that we try to purchase. So the new building, new central sterile supply building. So you know what's going on a little bit with Kenny Road. And they're looking at buying new software that will track the truck once it leaves the building, because we'll need to know where the supplies are, if they're going to OR or wherever they're going, and when the truck leaves and picks up the clean and the dirty. And so that's some of that's kind of innovative, the GPS or RFID routing. Then you have to always balance that too with what's being too much Big Brother snooping versus, you know.
Do they do that for like the medication? Like I know pharmacy will.
The outpatient pharmacy will deliver.
Yeah.
I don't know, for some of the meds.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Where are they and who's routing? Yeah. I don't know if we've started to take those to know where. You're right. And some of those are high-end drugs and things that are mixed. Yeah.
Any other questions?
For most of your projects, do you do a pilot, or is it just really project dependent? Like you tried it, because we've learned about kind of this process a little bit, but then we also did like PDSA cycles where those are more rapid.
Right.
Like, do you see both of those kinds of?
We see both of them, yeah. And sometimes we do a pilot, sometimes we do a proof of concept. A pilot, you know you're going to implement eventually, you're just trying it in a small area. So like Cronus Acuity, we were thinking of maybe doing a small pilot on a couple units. And then after we do a retrospective or lessons learned, then we'll roll out to everyone else. Proof of concept is you're not sure it's going to work. So we're trying that right now on wireless. So we're doing a little proof of concept to see, okay, well, if we would change our wireless system, what do we impact? So do we impact the IV pumps? What about the robots? And all those kind of pieces. So it just depends upon, we're doing a lot with innovation on automation. So what things can we automate that a human does repetitively? So there is some work that we can, or why if someone asks for a server, why can't we automate that, the creation of the server? Instead of having to go to 3 different people, we could have it go as, you know, it may not create everything, but it can create up to a certain point. And then use those people for other things that we need work on.
Jordan, you have any other questions?
Oh, this has been very helpful.
What is the most fun project you've worked on?
Most fun. Actually, I'll go back to the Chronos. I like that one. That one in ICD-10. They were very big. Yeah, but Chronos, we were able to get out and about. So my team really enjoyed that because they got to know a lot of the different departments, and we were doing a lot of communication presentations with different areas that we wouldn't usually like come in for third shift for housekeeping and things like that. ICD-10 was great because we had lots of people helping. And then you have some of the smaller ones where people, we can do fun things within. So we can do like fun team building activities. So like the information warehouse team is a little bit more soft side. So we could put on some of the team building games that we usually win it. Some of the agile things that have been fun are playing agile poker. So that's where you do points. So you read an enhancement and everyone puts down their card and what the size of the project is. It's called agile poker. It's really fun. So
reach out to you for some team building ideas.
Yeah. But those are just a few of the kind of fun ones.
What's the next big project?
Next big one.
Can you share?
Yeah, I don't know. I can share. I'm trying to think of what are some of the big ones. Actually, what we've been asking our leadership is please no more big ones right now. Because this summer was so packed with between Single Sign and Beaker Kronos, and then even before that there was
I think I is changing.
The release cycle and upgrade is very and so what's the Workday's the next big one that's really coming up. That's
more an
HR focus and everything. The new Central Sterile Supply building, and then the tower. I mean, those are all kind of the big upcoming pieces I'm trying to think of. And then some of our Community Connect sites. So with those smaller hospitals like Memorial, we're working with right now to bring up on it, instance. We kind of have a little breather right now, which is good. So we don't, I don't want to jinx it, but we'll take it for now. There are some new IHIS modules that we're just talking about that maybe we could use, like genetics or something like that we haven't implemented.
Because I saw that in there, like it's weird. I will like be looking at a chart for that report, and I'll say, I'm like, oh, what's this genetics button?
Yeah.
I'm like, is that be great?
There's so much functionality in IHIS.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
I think so. It's like, there's like 400 things that you could do that you will never see.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot in there.
I imagine there's just so much learning that's involved with your job. Like you're from Kronos to IHIS to everything. Like it's just so much. Like
It's a wide variety.
Jump in and learn all that.
Well, I don't have to be an expert in all those.
Yeah.
So my team, the way kind of, I think
you
one
seem
reason,
like experts though, probably when you're done.
when we're done a little bit, yes, and then they call us afterwards, like Radon. So Aria, so Dr. Gupta calls us a lot of times. So my team focuses on the 10 knowledge areas of PMI. So that's what we're experts on, and that's what's made our group successful. So that's our skill set. So if you're a really good project manager, you should be able to pick that up and go to any industry if you don't know anything about it. So I know at that framework, right. And so you should be able to implement that framework wherever you go. So if I would pick that up, I should be able to go to finance or, another industry.
You pretty much identify like your stakeholders and your experts and your like end users maybe in those areas, and you kind of rely on them.
Yes. Yeah. So they're like Gretchen Ross would be my subject matter expert for OR workflows and things like that. But I know enough about healthcare and how we're inner workings, but I'm not that expert in the OR, space and things like that. So we usually try, as we staff a project, to always have a triangle. So we have a project manager, we pair it with an application lead, and then a technical lead. And then in the center of your triangle, you have your subject matter experts. And so that really makes up your project. So I would never want to have a PM without that application lead.
Can you wait?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So it's like it's a triangle.
I like
So one side, your project manager. One side of the triangle is your application lead. Another side is your technical lead, if you have something technical. And then inside are your subject matter experts. And obviously your sponsor is, above that, but that kind of makes up your core project team. And if you have that, you're usually pretty successful because you have your experts, your knowledge for each project. So we focus on this side. Now, sometimes we get pulled into the technical pieces and we're wearing two hats, but most part, we really try to stay So PMI, for the Project Management Institute, has 10 knowledge areas. And that's what that's our skill. And that's where certification is in. So that's what I train my new staff, and our competencies and everything are to those 10 knowledge areas.
With the new staff, do they go to school for, I don't know, like, I think someone's card said process engineer.
Yeah. So they don't have to have their PMP when they come. As project analyst, I'd rather not have their certification. So I'd rather train, and then especially out of school, it's a hard exam. I mean, it's just like nursing and all these other exams. It's not something easy. A lot of people think it's simple, but no, none of these are. And so I like to see about 5 years of work experience before they sit for their PMP, but I'm willing to train so I get the right personality. So even, and the field, the degrees, I have a couple people that don't have their degree, and some have different, we all have different degrees. So you don't need a technology degree. So if you're looking for a good project manager, I'd probably say you don't want someone that has a computer science degree. You want event planning is really good. Communication is good, because hospitality, any of those kind of degrees, some in background make really good project managers. So you always want to look for kind of the odd resumes that come through and say, if you're looking for a project manager. Yeah, but not you don't want a computer science. They're just, they become too rigid. Yeah, they're not flexible. So that's, yeah.
We can tell which patients are,
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I have, none of my staff now have a computer science degree. I have someone who used to be a respiratory therapist at Children's, and he's made a really good project manager over the years. Someone that used to work on research grants, but her background's not computer science. I have event planner, hospitality. So they're all
So somebody in the Masters of Healthcare Innovation would be a great project
Oh, yes,
manager.
yes. You come on over and work on my team. Yes.
There you go, Justin.
Yes. But it's that creativity and flexibility and, thinking, forward thinking, and able to put puzzle pieces together. Yeah.
For sure.
It does.
Do you work with Nanette Richardson and her team, or is that a different?
That's a different, I don't know who she is.
Yeah, they do. The
Process improvement.
Performance improvement team, I think.
Yeah, I don't know her. I don't know that group. Unless they're on Susan, but that's not Susan White. Susan White's on the analytics side of the
She's on the
James.
analytics.
Yeah.
I don't know where they
Yeah.
fall.
I don't know. There's just so much. I don't know all the
Every time I
areas.
look at the org chart, it
Yeah.
changes. So I
Last I heard, we're still working on it.
never- Right.
Yeah.
Wow, gosh.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yep, thank you.
So I can send some templates if you're interested in them.
Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. And if you want any help along the way, reach out to me.
Especially like if we get going on our capstones.
Yeah, if you get going on your capstone and
The
some of this
guidance.
innovation things, let me know, because I can help. If I can't help, I know some people in IT that can help. Yeah. I know people that can.
That'd be very helpful.
Good.
Now, when do you graduate? May. Oh, it's really soon then.
Not soon enough.
You're soon. Yes.
Jordan, you're on recording.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm comfortable saying that. I'm willing to.
Our program was 2 years, so we started last summer actually. So we're in our 5th of 6 semesters.
Mhm.
So we've gone straight through.
Okay. Yeah, that's hard. That's hard. And working full time.
Yes.
Yeah, I did that years ago. Work full time and go back into my MBA. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we've met a lot of good friends through it.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
good.
know each other.
Yeah, that's
So
That's
good.
good.
Take it with
Lots
the-
of good support.
That's right.
And that makes a good project team.
Yeah.
You support one another. So.
For sure.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate it.
He probably can't see it. I didn't have my camera on.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Kelly. That was really helpful. Really.
I didn't want you staring at me the whole time.
Well, you know.
All right. See ya.
All right.